Welcome, everybody. My name is Julia Roy, and I'm going to be moderating today's webinar, Delivering More with Less, 2024 Marketing Success Recipes. I'm going to quickly go over our agenda and some housekeeping, and then I'll introduce our panelists and pass the mic over to them. Today, we're going to be covering current digital marketing challenges, and we'll be hearing from the Thunderbird School of Global Management at Arizona State University and their marketing strategies. And then we'll be sharing some recipes for success in today's tough marketing landscape. At the end of the webinar, we will have time for a Q&A for any questions that may come up. This webinar is being recorded and will be distributed to all registrants and attendees. I'd like to introduce our two panelists. First, we're joined by Lamise Alnagar, Digital Marketing Manager at Thunderbird School of Global Management at ASU. Lamise, could you share a little bit about yourself with the audience?
Certainly. Hello, everyone. My name is Lamise Alnagar, and I'm the Digital Marketing Manager for Thunderbird School of Global Management at Arizona State University. I'm responsible for all degree-related digital and traditional marketing campaigns, which includes creating visual assets, writing ad copy, and managing the marketing campaign budgets. I oversee the reporting of results and data analysis, ensuring that our metrics are accurate and that we analyze and optimize our campaign performance consistently. Additionally, I collaborate with our senior and executive directors to make sure that all our decisions are strategic and aligned with our marketing initiatives and the organization's goals.
Thanks so much. We're so excited to have you join us today. To kick off today's topics, I'd like to introduce Michelle Barnes, Senior Conversion Experience Advisor here at Instapage.
Thank you, Julia. I am very happy to be here today. A quick intro into me. So my passion is really helping businesses develop winning marketing plans that deliver measurable results. I started my digital marketing career about 12 years ago on the pre-click side, but over the last 8 years or so, kind of honed and focused my skills on post-click optimization to really improve that campaign performance. But we have a lot of great content to cover today, so let's go ahead and get started. The topic that we want to cover today is today's digital marketing challenges. So as we dive into this hot topic, I would like to kick off the webinar with a quick audience poll. Our question to you is, what is your greatest digital marketing challenge today? The options that pull up there: a fast-changing market, resource and budget constraints, or keeping up with best practices, trends, and technology. So go ahead and select your answers, and we will reveal those in just a few moments. You see those coming in. All right, let's go ahead and show those results. All right, so definitely ones that we expected. So fast changing market, one of those, and then keeping up with best practices, trends, and technology is really that top answer that we saw from a lot of people. So very interesting results, and I'm really excited to kind of dig into these common problems, with the first one being the fast changing market. So this problem can really touch on so many different areas of marketing that we're seeing really a fast shift. The first one being that channels and messaging that worked before have stopped working. So really visitors are looking for what's new and what's next, and marketing teams are kind of struggling with launching campaigns and updating their messages or running tests fast enough to kind of keep up with those changes. The next one is business situations are changing too fast, so they can't keep up and they struggle aligning changes in the company with the marketing goals. So Lamise, I'd like to hear from you. What has been your greatest challenge in this area?
I can see that we've actually faced similar challenges as everyone else here attending, but for us specifically, what has been our biggest challenge has been managing multiple campaigns simultaneously and with short turnaround times, and just being able to get things up and going in as little time as possible has been our biggest challenge.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing the last one. That information. Really, business situations changing too fast kind of segues into the next challenge we're seeing many marketers face, which is kind of feeling those resource and budget constraints. So with that, as we explore more, the most common themes that we're hearing about from some of our customers are One, marketing and support teams are getting leaner. They're experiencing kind of a talent and skills gaps in there, right? We'll go into the emerging technologies, but really the rapid pace of digital transformation means there's often a gap between the skills needed and what's available in the workforce. And then finding and retaining skilled digital marketing professionals is a common challenge with that. Finally, securing budget resources is also becoming harder. It's heavily scrutinized. So with that, many marketers are finding that allocating budget effectively across various digital marketing channels while demonstrating a clear value and ROI is an ongoing concern. Lamise, is your team experiencing any of these constraints?
Yes, indeed, Michelle. Our team is experiencing balancing numerous projects, which has required me to take on more of an independent role. I have to proactively build landing pages myself and create ads myself, and basically involving my team in the final review stages just for feedback or just to ensure that I have not missed anything while still maintaining high quality results. So having one person kind of know everything has been and need in marketing, no matter what your role is, no matter if you have a big team or you have a small team, you have to be agile, you have to lean, you have to know more than just your field.
Yeah, awesome. Well, the third area that we're hearing a lot of marketers struggle with is kind of keeping up with those best practices, trends, and technologies. Specifically, staying up to date with emerging technologies such as AI and AR, and really effectively integrating them into their strategies. The next one with experimenting, personalizing, and optimizing the funnel. Consumers are expecting highly personalized experiences, but delivering these at scale can require sophisticated data analysis and automation tools. And then also marketers with that have to keep up and keep in mind that balancing personalization with privacy is also a concern, right? We're getting all this information from visitors. We have to keep it secure. How are we going to do that? And then finally, target content overload. We have our target audiences, but they just get so much thrown at them at one time. The sheer volume of content available online can really make it difficult for individual pieces to stand out. And marketers know that creating high quality content that resonates with audiences is the most important thing, for getting that content out there and increasing conversion rates. So I'd really love to hear from you on how Thunderbird has found success amongst these common challenges.
Yes, so I'm super excited to share with you guys our success story with Instapage. So, as I mentioned earlier, using Instapage has been very helpful for my one-person marketing team. Now, again, I do have team members in my team. We have a web developer, we have a graphic designer, myself, and other members. But when it comes to digital campaigns, I felt like it's a one-person marketing team. So at Thunderbird, we run multiple campaigns annually. We use a mix of traditional and digital media. We want to broaden our reach, and we typically have very tight deadlines where we kind of need to push out campaigns for various reasons. And so we have to pretty much project manage and ensure that we can get the creatives, the copy design, and website or landing page up as soon as possible. So previous to Instapage, we used to send our ads to our website, which did okay, but ever since we have transitioned over to using Instapage, we've noticed a 48.5% increase in lead generation, which has been a huge boost for us, and we were super excited with this new development and continued using Instapage for quite a few years now, where we just continue to optimize our landing pages as well as build new ones.
And how would you say kind of like Instapage helped with that?
Why I use Instapage? Very good question, Michelle. I am not a web developer and I cannot do coding. My knowledge is very basic, and what I really loved about Instapage is that it's user-friendly interface. So I can click drag, I can input my logos and my colors and add images. It has robust features where I can add buttons and link them either to on page or off page. I can A/B test, I can check my analytics, including even the leads directly on there. Even though ours go to our CRM, I can still see them and make sure that the leads that I'm getting on Instapage are the same as what I'm getting in my CRM, which they match. So it's just been super easy to use for me and convenient.
That's awesome.
Some additional benefits that I would recommend using to anyone who's starting off with Instapage, especially if they don't have a lot of website building experience, kind of like myself, I would highly recommend that they utilize the landing page audit. So what Instapage offers is a landing page audit if you request it, where they're going to look through your page and make sure that your content is aligned with what your goal is. And they also check for any coding issues and any tracking issues. Basically, whatever they are keeping up with in terms of latest trends and technologies, if they notice anything up with your page, they're going to let you know in a report. Also, they offer coding services. So some of the features that may not be available currently on Instapage, you can go ahead and request it. For example, I really wanted boxes that expand, kind of to minimize the content that was on my landing page, because we felt that if we have too much content and the landing page is too long, our visitors may not want to keep scrolling down. So what we did was we made expandable boxes with the question, and then if they are interested in knowing more, they click on the plus sign, the box expands with more text. So again, this feature was not available on Instapage, but the Instapage professional team was able to code that and include it on our landing page. And then they always have new features. So almost every month or every other month, they have a new feature that they share with us. For example, recently they added slides, which has been a great help. I really enjoy adding multiple videos or multiple images in their slide feature. And finally, they're excellent customer support. So I really appreciate how proactive they are and how quick their response is. So sometimes I have an issue and I really need their support, and I cannot wait. As you know, I have tight deadlines, and the Instapage customer service support team responds to me almost instantly, and they solve my problem within a day.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Just kind of like tying that into, some of the problems that we discussed previously, really hearing about, the new features, kind of staying on top of it, technology and trends, making sure that you're able to apply that to the website. That sounds like one of the items that touched on, and really having the support team, it sounds like, kind of operates as an extension of your team, to help with strategy and implementation. So if you are working with like a leaner team, that seems to be helping a lot. Is that what I was hearing?
Definitely, definitely. One of the best things for sure.
All right, perfect. Well, now that we've kind of outlined some common challenges and had a chance to hear about your success using Instapage, I want to review some must-haves when it comes to creating high converting landing pages, and really tying this in because that helps with ROI, right? Like if you are improving your conversion rates, you're getting a lower cost per acquisition, then you can help improve that budget or that bandwidth for, either hiring in new people or expanding on the tools and technologies that you need. So kind of kicking this off, the first one is when you're creating a landing page, you want to make sure that you're creating an engaging design. So this involves first reviewing the content hierarchy. So content hierarchy plays a crucial role in landing page conversions because it directly influences how visitors perceive and interact with your page. So it's not just about how information is arranged visually, but it's also about creating that user-centric experience that kind of guides visitors seamlessly towards conversion. So by structuring your landing page content effectively, you can significantly enhance its ability to attract, engage, and then convert visitors into customers or leads. The next one is ensuring that calls to action are clear on the page. So make sure you're being descriptive in the next step that you want visitors to take, kind of going on beyond that common learn more or get started. For example, you can incorporate your savings with something like get my 50% off, or, make sure that you're calling that out on the call to action. Tell the visitors what they're going to be getting on the next step. One example that I love to share is I had an opportunity to work with a fintech company where we were trying to increase kind of these business loan applications. So we tested start my application versus apply now versus get more capital. And that last one had a 49% increase in loan applications because it solved the problem that the visitor came to solve. You know, they were looking for more capital for their business. And by saying get more capital, okay, that's what I want, so I'm going to apply. So really working on those CTAs can help motivate visitors to the next step. Then you want to make sure that you're removing distractions from your page. So this applies to the content on the page that's really drawing the visitor's attention away from the goals of the page. It could be anything from links off of the page that aren't driving towards the goal, or large contrasting images or animations that draw the visitor's attention away from the CTA and the value proposition. And then finally, the most important one is optimizing that value proposition, which really focuses on two main areas. The first one, making sure that the value proposition clearly identifies the visitor's problem, how you solve the problem, and what makes you different from the competition. And then the next one on the next slide is creating that ad to page relevance. So we want to make sure that the message on the page matches the message of the ad that drove them there. So really, there's nothing worse than that bait and switch where you're expecting one experience and then you get there and it's completely different. So visitors, if that happens, they'll leave just as quickly as they came to the page. We have an example on here. Lamise, can you share kind of what you did in this example to help create that ad to page relevance?
Yeah, sure. So this is one of our recent ads, and in this example, we ensured that we match the text that is on the ad, as you can see, to the hero image text, where we see now in Washington D.C., now in Washington D.C., the name of the program, the name of the program. So although the images were not exactly the same, but we maintained the same text to ensure that we are consistent with our messaging. That way we are not surprising our visitors, we're ensuring them that they have arrived to the correct page, and hopefully maximizing their chance to convert.
Yeah, definitely. And I really liked what you called out an example, kind of using the Washington, D.C. in there. I think an area where a lot of marketers forget is that audience relevancy. So, you know, we'll set up our targets, we'll create our ad, we'll make sure the ad matches what comes on the landing page, but really tying it into the audience that you're targeting as well. You know, like yours is location based, so that makes it, you know, easy in terms of, oh, okay, well, we know you're in Washington, D.C., so this is relevant to you, right? But even when it comes to like creating personas for your website and who might be using your product, you know, like a mom might have a different need than, you know, somebody younger that's just entering college. So really like tailoring that value proposition to what are their different life needs and why they're going to need your product or service is really important in developing that value proposition.
Certainly, we tend to ensure that we fit that into our landing pages just to increase our chances.
Awesome. Well, after you have the content set up and an engaging design, you want to make sure that you are doing a technical analysis as well. So with that, you want to make sure that you're checking that everything is functioning properly, that you know the page speed is loading on time. With page speed, you want to make sure that you're optimizing images, that you're cleaning up your tag manager containers of old pixels. I like to say every millisecond counts. You know, I see so many marketers, they might run a campaign with an agency for a certain amount of time, and then maybe that relationship ends, or they're switching gears, or they switch to a new platform, but they leave those pixels kind of just sitting in their Google Tag Manager. The thing is, if you're not using it, don't load it on the page, because that will affect your page load time. Also making sure that you are device specific, that you're optimizing for mobile and desktop devices and tablet. Really, it's important to check your device split and really optimize for all of it, but focus on the areas where you're getting the most traffic, evaluate it differently. So you might want to have different content on a desktop device, different layout for that based on what you see visitors interacting with. than on a mobile devices. So make sure that you're checking that out to make sure it's optimized. And then, decreasing the anxiety on the page. So where visitors are submitting information either for a lead gen form or they're providing financial information for a purchase, you really want to share with the customer, how are you keeping their information safe and how is their information used, right? So then after all of that is in place, you can begin optimizing and testing. So you really want to start out with best practices, but I like the saying a best practice is a best guess until proven by data. So we often implement best practices because we've seen them work historically, and therefore it's most likely to work now, and it's a good starting point. But you really want to turn those guesses into data-backed facts with on-page testing. So some things that you can easily test are messaging. So that again comes back to your value proposition, making sure that that's optimized for motivating the visitor in. Those calls to action, not only, the text on those calls to action, but making sure that they're, contrasting well, they're drawing the visitor's attention, they're above the fold when they land on the page, and clearly drawing attention and conveying what the next step is. That layout and content hierarchy. So, experiment with it. Maybe you start with, your common, you have your header, your hero, and then maybe you have social proof, some testimonials down there. But test and see, like, is your audience heavily motivated by social proof? Maybe they need more clarification on how your program or your product works or what the steps will be. So maybe it would be more beneficial to serve how it works in that next position. So you really want to experiment with where the content is on the page, where visitors are engaging to see what's going to motivate them to the next, step. And then also looking at images, right? So does lifestyle imagery resonate better with your audience, or does like a UI or pictures of your product, what is going to be the one that motivates them the most? Lifestyle often can create a connection, but maybe they really just want to look into like the specs of our product. So you really want to kind of create that connection for them with their images and what works. And then again, those colors. So coming back to, are you using colors to draw attention to the most important elements on your site, and then using more muted colors for other elements? But I'd really like to hear from you, Lamise, because I'm talking a lot. Can you share some of the successes that you've had with testing on your landing pages?
Yes, sure. So the purpose of our landing pages is to generate leads. Therefore, the most important test we could have performed was the RFI, or the request for information form, that is located on our landing pages, and that is where visitors fill the form so that we can contact them for more information. We A/B tested the location of our RFI form. Originally, it was in the bottom of the page, and we wanted to see if it would do better at the top of the page. So we A/B tested one page with the form on the bottom, the other with the form on the top next to the hero image, and we noticed that the one on the top generated more leads, and it was a drastic difference in terms of which one generated more. So we moved our form up to the top, and then we continued testing because we realized that it wasn't easy to use on mobile. And as you said earlier, Michelle, it's important to make sure that you optimize your pages, not just on a desktop, but all the other devices that your visitors attend. So we noticed that on mobile, the form is too big, and so we turned it into a button and tested that if it was easier for them to fill out the big form or a button. But we continue A/B testing. This is a natural process of optimization for us.
Yeah, that continuous optimization and iteration. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thank you for sharing that example with us. I want to share kind of some of Instapage's solutions. And I heard you mention some of these when you were sharing your experience. The first one is launching campaigns in days instead of weeks. So it's really the DIY for the non-dev, non-designer, non-ops marketer. And, I think we had a chance to kind of chat about this, when we were preparing for this webinar, but you shared with me how for your main website, you have one webmaster that runs everything, right? So at the time, whenever you had a request, then it would take a while for you to be able to get that change made. So really with Instapage, you kind of can step out of like that technical need for a webmaster to make updates because it's so easy to go in and make those updates yourself. So you're no longer waiting on that agile cycle from your development team. You can just go in and make the updates that you need. The next one is expansive lead generation tools. So, we offer both native and integrated forms to ensure that leads are flowing into your existing customer journey flows. Then looking at analyzing user behavior so you can know where visitors are interacting with your landing page and analyze that behavior with kind of those built-in heat maps and scroll maps. I love these specifically because I like to see where visitors are interacting. So some kind of tips and tricks on that. Do you see visitors that are clicking on elements that have no interaction? Okay, we need to either add some interaction to those, or maybe they're a distraction on the page and we need to remove them or reorganize them in a way that people don't expect there to be an interaction. Also seeing where visitors are kind of like focused on your page or dropping off. You can see, oh, maybe I need to place a call to action in this position to kind of get that final sell before they exit the page. But then one that a lot of people don't know is if you see a lot of visitors kind of scrolling to the bottom of your page without taking action, that could mean that you're not offering enough information, right? So you need to add some additional content, add like a final call to action on that page. But we really want to make sure that we're using those tools, and it's nice that Instapage has those built in. Then some recent updates is, updates with conversion tracking and attribution. So Instapage measures both on-page kind of micro conversions for clicks to the next step, but also down funnel with a first-party cookie. So that's a big change where everything has historically been measured with third-party cookies, but with security getting tighter on the web, Instapage has actually switched over to a first-party cookie to kind of fill that gap between what's happening on the landing page and what's happening down funnel at that final conversion. Then in terms of emerging technologies, constantly updating tools with items such as AI generated content and AI experiments. So let's say you're looking for some, inspiration on what to test for content on your landing page. Now you can type in a few prompts and you can get some AI generated content to give you an idea of different elements you can test. And then you can use AI experiments to really get the kind of that risk-free testing or lower risk testing. I won't say risk-free because there's always a little bit, right? But lower risk testing done on your experiments. And then finally, that ability to easily experiment, personalize, and scale with built-in tools to help you kind of quickly scale and test your landing pages. Then you touched on this, Lamise, as well, is working with Instapage's professional services, which is one of my favorites because that's the team I'm on. But we're all great teams over here. So, but like I mentioned, we kind of like to work as a collaborative extension of your team. So if you are working with a leaner team or a budget constraint, we have technical services. So we have engineers that can help with custom integrations, widget creations, different implementations for maybe tools that aren't yet released in Instapage or things that you want to test out and try out. We have UX designers that are really conversion focused. They can help with creating on-brand templates, do block refreshes, or maybe just give you some inspiration. We look at our web pages day in, day out, and sometimes we're just like, I don't even know what to do next. So getting that fresh pair of eyes can be helpful in kind of being creative and developing something new on those web pages. And then CRO strategy. So, getting that CRO consultation, the audits on your landing pages, like you said, like, what am I not seeing on this landing page that can be improved? So having that strategy implemented and available to you can be really helpful as well. So really, how much of an impact has this had on your experience with Instapage, Lamise?
Yeah. I personally highly enjoy working with Instapage's professional team. They are exceptionally helpful, organized, always timely in their support, And I look forward to our monthly calls where we discuss any challenges that I'm facing. And I appreciate knowing also that I can email at any time. So I don't really have to wait for that monthly call. I can chat, I can email, but having that dedicated call provides me with structured time where I can go into deeper discussions and just get feedback, or again, discuss any possible CRO projects that we want to start. And Julia, who's been the person we meet with every month, has been incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, I love her.
Yes, she's great.
Well, thank you for sharing such great information. Really, that pretty much wraps up today's webinar. So I'd like to hand it back over to Julia for some Q&A. So Julia, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Michelle and Lamise, very much. We got some great questions that came in from the audience. So let's get started on those. The first one that we got is, what is AI experimentation and how does it differ from standard A/B testing?
Yeah, that's a good one. So historically, AI experimentation is called MAB, or multi-armed bandit. But really, when you think about a standard A/B test, you're generally splitting your traffic evenly. So during the length of an experiment, 50% of the time traffic is going to a winner and 50% of the time traffic's going to a loser, right? So that's the risk in there, is you could have that split where you're sending traffic to something that isn't performing as well. With AI experimentation, what it does is it will start with kind of an even split, and then it has a short learning period where it says, okay, we can see the initial behavior on this page. This variant is starting to show better performance. So instead of waiting the full length of an experiment to evenly allocate that, it'll actually start allocating more traffic towards the winner. And every day it kind of recalculates and then starts sending more traffic to that winner. So not only can you get results a little bit faster sometimes with that, but also you have lower risk because you're not sending half of your traffic to losing variants in that case.
That makes sense. Lamise, we got a question for you. What metrics do you typically look at to assess the success of your landing page layouts?
So that's a good question. Of course, first we look at leads, and then we ensure that they are good leads. And then from that, we see how many of those leads actually converted to enrolled students or matriculated into enrollment. So leads is the number one way we check the success of our landing page.
That makes sense. Another question for you, Lamise. Why did Thunderbird select Instapage for its landing page solution instead of a competitor?
So when I had started working at Thunderbird, that's what they've been using. So I cannot say if there were other ones that were evaluated. From my personal experience, I have highly enjoyed using Instapage because of how user-friendly it is. And that is the honest answer to that question.
Awesome. This is one for both of you. Do you have any perspective on using page forms versus pop-up forms?
I have not used pop-up forms. We have on-page form that is connected to our CRM, and because it goes through our CRM, this works best for us. And pop-up, I'm not sure if this means like physically pop-up, like how that would look on mobile, in case it would take too much space. So I'm not really sure. Have not used that.
Yeah. I think like generally in CRO, best practice is to try and not hide things behind a click. Occasionally there are uses for pop-up forms. For example, I had a customer who their main goal is to schedule a demo request, but sometimes people aren't ready to make that full commitment to a lead. So they had a secondary to like request a case study, which is kind of like a soft lead for them. So in that case, I wouldn't recommend like having two forms visibly on the page. I would make sure that demo request is the main focus, but maybe hide the form for like the case study request behind a pop-up. But as CRO as well, my recommendation is always to test it. So just because the best practice is to have the form visibly on the page doesn't mean that's going to be what's most successful for you. So I would test it and see which one of those works best.
That makes sense. Another one we had come in for you, Lamise, is how long did it take you to get comfortable building your landing pages on your own?
Yeah. At first, I was very nervous, and but it really did not take me long once I've started adventuring and kind of just taking a risk and getting in there and moving things around and just knowing that if I mess up, I can undo. So not that long, but I was nervous. So my advice is don't be nervous. You can't break it that bad. So just try.
Michelle, do you have any perspective kind of from your work with other customers around, how long it usually takes to get fully comfortable in the platform?
I think it's kind of subjective. It's based on, your comfort with technology, right? So, if you're very like adept and you learn things really quickly, it's easier to navigate. I think one of the things that we've done is we've definitely tried to make the platform intuitive, right? So we have the sidebar where you can easily select different elements. Everything's really kind of drag and drop for the most part, where you can see how it's going to be arranged. You can preview it. You can publish it on like a demo link so you can test it across different devices. But yeah, it really just depends on like really just getting in there and getting started. Like Lemi said, you just got to dive in and like start playing with it. The other thing that's nice is we do have a lot of like standard templates available. So if you're nervous about starting from scratch, I would recommend, starting off of a template and then just swapping it out for your brand colors, your brand fonts, your images, and then, you can kind of work off of that to get a better feel for the platform.
Awesome. We've got one more question that came in, and it is, can you talk a little bit more about heat maps, and how Instapage customers can utilize them? And then I think Lamise, our audience would love to hear your personal experience with them as well.
So yes, I love heat maps. When I discovered that we have heat map on our Insta page, I was super excited because it was so easy to use. So going to your landing page, you can see the how many, but not exactly by numbers, just by color, how many of your visitors scroll all the way to the bottom, what do they click on the most, what are they interacted with the most on your page, and make decisions based on that. So for example, we noticed that not many visitors scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, which is good because that means we're providing them the information that they need at the top, but it also brought our attention to, hey, do we want to put our form at the bottom of the page or up at the top, because we want them to fill out that form as well. That's when we started A/B testing the location of the form, and we decided we need to have another location for that form on the top with a sticky header and a button. So heat map is super useful, and I highly recommend you use that to help optimize your landing page.
No, that's a great point, and I just have to co-sign with that. It's really just looking at your visitor engagement. It's built right into the preview, so anytime you publish an Instapage landing page, you can go into heat map view, and it just automatically starts tracking from the last published date. And you can look at previous versions as well. So let's say you made a change and you want to see how that affected interaction, you can click between the two versions of the page to see, oh, maybe this change, now that I made it, I'm not getting as much interaction here. Then you can kind of revert that. Or you can say, oh, I am getting more, so let me do some more changes like this or apply this, across multiple landing pages. But it's really just about looking at the visitor behavior, seeing where they're interacting, how far they're scrolling, to get that kind of data to back up or find information to test.
That makes sense. We actually had one more question come in. Is it important, in your opinion, to use a thank you page, for your landing pages?
That's a good question. We do, but again, you can always test it. It's just kind of nice, I guess, because you've collected this information. There's nothing for them on the landing page, but also you can just keep them on the landing page. I would say test it.
I would say I prefer having a thank you page for the main fact is that you can continue the flow of information from there, right? So if somebody either fills out a form or they have a purchase confirmation, you can, from like a form for like a lead gen, you can feature other pieces of content that helps them continue their exploration, kind of while they're waiting for that call back or, whatever that request was on the form. Or in terms of a purchase, then you can kind of upsell some additional items. I'll have to say, one of my favorite purchase thank you page experiences, which totally worked on me, was from a company called Rest. They sell, cooling blankets and sheets and stuff. And so after I made like my initial purchase, then afterwards I got the thank you page and they're like, oh, but you can also get these sheets for another 40% off. And I was like, I want these sheets too, so I will make this purchase. So it's really just an opportunity to engage the customer further after their initial interaction with you. So I do recommend them. They're not like 100% necessary, but I think it creates a better user experience as a whole. And you can also kind of warm up that lead or kind of like, remarket or upsell the visitor on that thank you page.
Awesome. All right. Well, that covers all of our questions today. Thank you, Michelle and Lamise, so much for joining us. And thank you for everybody who took the time to come and watch our webinar. We hope you have a good one.
Thank you.